Jerseys of Hope is a nonprofit committed to inspiring a sense of community and well-being in hospitals through the donation of athletic jerseys to be worn by patients rooting for their favorite team. In the past 7 years, Jerseys of Hope has given out over 2,000 jerseys to lift the spirits of hospital patients. They have impacted the needy in 4 countries and 11 states. Please visit jerseysofhope.org to learn more. We're so honored to partner with Jerseys of Hope and be a small part of the large impact they make.
Let my tree bear good fruit so I can be used by you.
Welcome to the Unscripted podcast. This is Caitlin. Each episode, my Uncle Aaron interviews guests that are living their lives unscripted. The song you are hearing is the music from our dear friends Tori and Shauna. You can find their music wherever you stream your favorite songs. For now, from his studio, here's my Uncle Aaron.
All right, welcome back to Unscripted from my studios in Hilliard, Ohio. Returning guest, Mr. Lightfoot, how are you?
Doing well, sir, and yourself?
I'm great. It's been a minute since you were on the last time. Also, we have a third guest, then I'll go ahead and let you introduce.
Want everybody to meet Kelly Broeg from HerSong Kelly administrates a pretty awesome ministry opportunity for people involved with other victims, survivors of human trafficking. And her story and the story of her story is pretty tremendous. So it's up to her to tell that.
Kelly, how are you? Welcome to Unscripted.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Doug, first of all, let's start with the event and then why you partnered with HerSong in the first place. So first off, can you tell us about the Penny for a Pound Challenge and that event itself?
Yeah. So several years ago, actually it's been about 9 years ago, several of us that I work with at the police department, we were talking about a Tim Tebow video where Tim had challenged people to use their passion to serve others. And brought it up in our roll call setting. I was a shift sergeant at the time. And one of the guys, or actually a couple of them on shift, were like, hey, you're into weightlifting. Is there a way you could use weightlifting to help other people? So that was a genesis for the Penny for a Pound Challenge. And this is our 7th annual. We call it 7th-ish because we lost 2 years due to COVID. And matter of fact, the 6th event was 2 weeks out. And when everything shut down. And so as we benefit a different charity every year. And what it is, it's first responders, police officers, firefighters, and then military veterans now get together once a year. We do a series of lifts, and then we add our lifts together, and we'll ask people to sponsor us for a penny for every pound we lifted. So that's how the name came about. And we started out with the Hilliard Food Pantry our first year. We did Get Behind the Badge. We've done, Special Olympics, Children's Hospital. Last year we did Save a Warrior. The year before that we did Honor Flight. So we find something local, or at least the state of Ohio, and that's what we do the event for. Well, was that we were thinking about who should be the recipient for this year's event. I've been hearing more and more about HerSong, and then I got introduced to Kelly. And we're like, yeah, HerSong, it's a Tim Tebow Foundation group. It's just, I think that's the best fit for this year. So we partnered with Kelly. We've been working closely with her, and our event is just over a month away. It's June 15th.
June 15th. And where can people find that? They can find it on Facebook, correct?
Yeah. So HPD, Penny for a Pound Challenge, is the Facebook page. And HerSong has also been tagged in a lot. So if you go to HerSong Columbus, and then you have helped us with some of the social media. And so they can find it through Unscripted as well.
That's right. Kelly, so you are the recipient this year. Can you tell us all about HerSong and just educate us a little bit on what this tremendous event that these guys do? I'm so honored to partner with them every year for what they do and who they do it for. So as soon as he was telling me about you, I was excited. Can you just let the audience know just a little bit about HerSong and what this is going to benefit?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you again just so much for the invite. And we're just so blessed to be the recipients of the donations on the backside of penny per pound. So thank you to you, Doug. I really appreciate you just cheering us on. And so yeah, HerSong, we exist really for survivors of human trafficking. We serve women 18 years and older who have been victims of some sort of trafficking experience here locally in Columbus. But before I go into the local piece, maybe I'll just give you a little background. Like Doug said, we are a ministry of the Tim Tebow Foundation. So the Tim Tebow Foundation has 28 ministries that roll up to it. And it's amazing. And Tim Tebow is just an incredible human being. And he really does give a voice to the voiceless and fight for those that can't fight for themselves. And it's an honor to really work alongside and be under this organization. But there's about 4 main focuses that the Tim Tebow Foundation has, and that's people with special needs, people with profound medical needs, people in orphan care and foster care, and then anti-human trafficking efforts. And so specifically, obviously, HerSong falls in that lane, if you will, of anti-human trafficking. So we are one of 12 ministries that fall under that lane, specifically domestically, to really fill the gap. And so there's a lot of statistics out there, but they say there's around 500,000 survivors of trafficking, but only about 1,800 beds for those survivors across the United States. And so we really exist to fill that gap. And that's our heart of who we are. And so we are super lucky in 2020. That's when we became ministry partners of the Tim Tebow Foundation. And that allowed us to really grow into this national expansion model as we began in Jacksonville, Florida. And now just 4 years later, we are in Columbus, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then soon to be Albany, New York, with hopes to continue to grow again, to just really meet this need for people who need it on the other side of their trafficking experience.
I have some questions. Some of them might be hard. Yeah. And you mentioned statistics. This is not something that's in front of us. We hear about it a lot. But it's all around us. Is that fair to say? Like it's everywhere. And I think we're not aware of it. And thank God for Tim Tebow and his ministry and what you all do. And I know there's a lot of warriors out there. It's a very sensitive subject as well, because we have to be very careful in how we rescue. Is that correct as well? And Doug, you can probably mention, or at least, any experience you have in this as well. It's very difficult, and people have to put themselves at risk to help rescue those that are in this situation. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and Doug might be able to speak more on the rescue side. The Tim Tebow Foundation actually does have organizations that specifically focus on that. We get to receive women after that piece has happened. And so Doug might be able to hit more on that piece. I can say, though, that, when we talk about, like you said, it's everywhere. I always say human trafficking doesn't discriminate against age, race, color, socioeconomic status, where you live. It really is all around you. It's in the suburbs. It's in the worst parts of the worst cities. It's in every country, because it really is just psychological manipulation. At the end of the day, a lot of it is. And so, I would just say it's absolutely everywhere. And then the rescue on the other end, it can look a lot of different ways. And Doug, I don't know if you want to touch in on what your experience has been, because I will say this, every experience is different. And you can't put human trafficking in a box, because everyone's journey is different. And then you have the flip side of child exploitation that happens too. So it's not just adults, you know what I mean? It's happening to kids. It's happening everywhere.
From the rescue side, so I've been involved in just a handful of cases. The hardest part is getting the victims to want to be helped. And traffickers know that if they keep them isolated, that they're not going to reach out. And the whole thing is, it's very transient in nature. So while they may be in one city or one part of the city one day, the next day they're in another part, or 2 days later, or they're in another part of the state. One of the investigations that I ended up just running into, this person was trafficking multiple women across 3 different states. So, but that's part of the hardest part is getting the victims to want the help.
Yeah.
I've left business cards with women that I believe that are victims of human trafficking when either we've had to release them or they've been arrested on something else. And I've not had a single one come back and ask for help. And that's the sad part. The other really sad part is something that Kelly brought up, is the limited number of beds and facilities that can help the victims once they are past the rescue process and in the recovery process. And that's one reason that as I read about HerSong and then found out there was one here in Columbus, I'm like, this is what we need to partner with, because so many of these women, unfortunately, don't get the aftercare that they need, and they end up back in it. And it's just repeating the cycle over and over again. And the physical and psychological damage to the victims is just so tremendous. And that's why we really need to support organizations like HerSong.
And thank you for mentioning that, because I was going to ask that next and again, this is a sensitive subject, I'm sure. So there's probably not some things you can say, but what does aftercare look like? Because it isn't, I have to think it's not just a physical thing. It's a mental thing as well. It's a psychological thing. You don't just go back to life again. And so how often and how long is someone with you? Is there, I'm sure you all have a program, and can you just give us some insight into what that looks like so people understand, how we can support and help? Because I can't imagine you just go back to life after, being rescued.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I think everyone's journey is so different and how quickly they can move forward and heal and get over different experiences that they've had. We do ask women that come into our program to agree to a year minimum. There's a lot. I mean, sounds like a lot of time, but honestly, probably more time would even really get them to the other side. And so what we really say is, a lot of times when women are coming to us, they're kind of coming to us in that survival-based mentality. And so our goal and hope is to bridge them fully to self-sufficiency so that they can get totally back on their feet again. And so, but there's a lot that has to happen between here and here. And so what that looks like is we have a phased program. So we have 3 different phases of homes that they live in. So when they first come to us, they are in phase 1 of the program. We use an evidence-based theory of change, which means essentially as they hit different pillars within the program, then they kind of move forward and they're moving on as they're growing and working through certain things. And so that first phase is 6 to 9 months. And that phase is really meant to be a place of rest, restoration. A lot of times when women come to us, their days are their nights and their nights are their days. And so just getting that body back in that circadian rhythm, just all the things, mind, body, spirit, really looking at all of those areas. We are a faith-led organization. So that obviously is a rooted part of us. Now, people come to us that might not be their belief system, and that's okay. But we're very upfront about what that looks like. But yeah, their weeks are very structured. So it's kind of like a job. Like during the Monday through Friday, they go to our offices and there's classes every single day. And those classes focus on safe people, addiction recovery, resilience, all sorts of things that focus on where they're at in the program. They have therapy every week, case management. If they're in addiction recovery, they're going to AA, NA meetings in the evenings. We surround them with a new community of healthy people. So volunteers are super important to our organization, healthy volunteers that come in and become spiritual mentors. Go do fun things with them too. Go to baseball games, go to the zoo, just let them live a normal life. They go to the grocery store, have doctor's appointments. So again, that physical piece too, we do a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of dentist appointments, things like that to just get them right back on their feet. And then by the second phase, hopefully there's been so much hard work done on working through the trauma and everything that by the second phase, we're really hoping that they're starting to dream again. And maybe they're getting to apply for a job or finish their GED or apply for college, wherever they're at in their journey. And I've had the pleasure of really watching it from start to finish as we opened in March of last year. And our first graduating group is this Friday, actually. And we get to see these women that have kind of come from here to here. And I can honestly say true life change in the lives of these women, and they're just different people. They really, really are. And so that second phase is so vital to like getting them to the next step. And the third phase is really optional to them. So those first two phases, that is really that first year. But the third phase is transitional living. So if they don't have a place to go, or, lots of different reasons, finances are tight, or maybe the family that they came from was part of their trafficking experience, whatever it may be, we want to assure them a place they can stay. So that third house is meant for that, for them to just be and work and achieve their dreams and their goals and things like that. And so that is what it looks like. But they put in the hard work. They really, really do, to get to the other side of the program.
So there's 3 phases? Is that right?
3 phases, yes.
3 phases.
Yep.
And you mentioned the faith aspect, and I have to believe, so the team that you have, this has to be very difficult work. So how do you all, your team, decompress? And I'm sure the joy is like the graduation that you mentioned coming up. That's got to be such an amazing thing. But I'm sure working in this situation day after day is difficult for your team as well. How do they find some peace in probably what's very dark and difficult world sometimes?
We encourage all of our staff to have strong boundaries, between work and life after work. We also encourage our staff with, to receive therapy and counseling regularly, as we know that the secondhand trauma is very real, and really just very open. We have a very open communication culture. So, if someone's not doing well or needs a day off or whatever that looks like, I mean, there's just a lot of openness there, and then just a lot of processing, I think, together as a group and a team. And so I would say there's just a lot of camaraderie there. And then we pray together regularly as well. We have scheduled prayer time once a week where anyone can jump on. And I think because we are a faith-led organization, there is just this kind of different sort of support that you get versus, in a corporate job, if you will. But we try our best. It is a very hard job there in the trenches. And, all we can do is love and support and try to meet them where they're at and help them in ways. But yes, it's tough. It's not easy. That's for sure.
Sure.
The graduation's exciting, but the ups and downs of the days that lead to that, it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even begin to imagine. And I do imagine any experience that I have with these types of homes or charities, things like that, they're typically very secretive about where they are. Is that the situation here as well?
Yeah, we don't disclose any of our properties, honestly, unless you've been background checked and you've gone through the volunteer process and training and things like that. There's some really hateful people that are looking for some of these women, or, family members even, and different things. And so everything we can do to protect them, we try,
Yeah.
And we have a lot of things in place if something were to ever happen. And obviously we have good security on the houses and everything. But yeah, we don't just openly disclose locations.
That's amazing. There's no surprise to me that a guy whose heart is as big as Doug's would partner with someone who has a heart that's incredible as well, doing incredible things. I just think, like I said earlier, I just think we are not aware enough about this situation. So I have one more question. I want to ask you both for your links so we can make sure that we can, support you both, and in supporting, the penny for pound, we know that will be supporting you as well. But I do want to get your links as well. What are some signs, if you can just, disclose this for the, for the rest of us, I guess, I can't think of the other word. What should we be looking for, where we should be just so our antennas are up a little bit when we're out and about? Should we be looking for signs? I know there's some hand signals now and that I've seen, and some things that when people are asking for help that they can't necessarily break away. Like I've seen a lot of different things. Is there something we should be just have our antennas up and be aware of situations? And Doug, you might be able to answer these as well.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, sure. I mean, I think little things like if someone can't make eye contact with you and it looks like they're, with someone who's clearly has kind of a reign of control over them, it would be very obvious, you know what I mean? And not like putting a blind eye to it, but noticing it and then doing something about it, giving a tip to the police. So at least there's a tip of like what to do, what to look, they could look for. I think any sign of just control of like not being able to speak, like, especially if it's a foreign national that's maybe with someone too and like is looking distressed. I've heard a situation before of there was some foreign, like some Spanish speaking women who went to the doctor's office and were kind of forced in to get a procedure that they didn't really sign up for. And so that doctor's office like recognized the issue and and said something, and then those people were caught. And so I think it's just really paying attention, not turning a blind eye, just looking for context clues. Ohio, it ranks number 5 in the nation for human trafficking. Now, a lot of that has to do with what's reported, right? And so I think so either we do a really good job reporting human trafficking, or it really is that bad here. And a lot of that has to do with our highway systems. It has to do with the drug epidemic. It has to do with a sharply rising immigrant population. There's a lot of reasons for that, but it's huge. It's apparent, and it's definitely something as an Ohioan to look for, especially just in obvious places like gas stations, truck stops, the mall, anywhere, really, grocery store, parking lots,
Right. I saw Sound of Freedom, and that was very disturbing, but in a good way. I don't know if that makes sense, a good way, but you know what I mean? Like it was awakening for me.
It opens your eyes.
Yeah, it opens your eyes. And it was heartbreaking. So I don't mean that, like I said, not in a good way. It was just heartbreaking, and it did open my eyes quite a bit. But at the same time, that's not just over there, wherever that was filmed. I think it started in Honduras before the beginning, where my wife actually goes on mission trips. It's not just there. You just said in Ohio. It's around us everywhere. I just want to be aware of that. Doug, what recommendations do you have?
Well, there's so I was going to say almost the same exact thing that Kelly did. And there's 2 real good organizations. One's Deliver Fund and the other's Guardian Group. And if you go to their websites, they have like printable or downloadable, printable sheets that show you warning signs, because there are, Kelly brought up a really good point. I haven't personally seen it, but I've talked to others who have on a network that I'm a part of. And there are immigrant groups who come from countries where they don't have a trust of the police, and they're being taken advantage of, and they are being put in various forms of human trafficking. And so that is a definite concern. But with Deliver Fund and Guardian Group, like I mentioned, they have some very, very good resources. I've been through one of Deliver Fund's training programs that I think is very excellent for law enforcement. And the biggest thing is awareness. We would love it if we could prevent. Well, and that's one of the things that you get from those 2 organizations. They can show you how to detect early signs and how we work to prevent it. And then the aftercare is so important. I would like to tell people that enforcement is the answer, but we're limited in what we can do. So what can we do to prevent it? And then what can we do to help the victims afterwards? And so one thing about Ohio, Kelly mentioned reporting. I got to give props to the Ohio Attorney General, Dave Yost. He's a big proponent of anti-human trafficking. He makes no bones about it. I've actually had a personal conversation with him to discuss the subject. So I know he's very passionate about combating human trafficking. So we got a lot of support there. And I think Ohio is pretty good about reporting their findings. So that's one reason I think we do rank up there. So I have to apologize for my dog jumping in my lap here a couple of times. Normally he's asleep by now, but since I'm awake, he wants to be awake. So
I figure we should have had a fourth window for him. We could have had a four panel there.
Yeah, Tim trying to jump in my lap here. But
I have one more question, and I think again this probably goes to both of you. Maybe more Doug. When it comes to if I see something, say something, probably type situation.
Right.
But again, these situations are very complicated. And Kelly, as you've said, they're all different. But a lot of times the actors in this situation are bad people, obviously. I mean, clearly. I think people should probably be aware, but be careful. And so is there a resource if I see a situation, they likely should they even attempt to, I don't know, I guess every situation is different. This is probably hard to paint it with a broad brush, but do you understand what I'm saying? I think the question is should they, I have a feeling they should be very careful in this situation because the people that are involved are probably not good people and probably very dangerous, which is why they're in that situation in the first place.
Agreed. And so the best thing you can do is call 911 and give as much information as you can. A lot of agencies also have Facebook pages. That most Facebook pages, if you messaging is monitored. So you can send a message via Facebook. We've had that happen before with various tips, not just human trafficking, but various tips. So social media is one, but 911 is always your best bet. And give the information the best you can. And, we tell people if it feels wrong, it is. Like if somebody comes home and finds their front door ajar,
right?
Oh, I'm not sure if I left it unlocked or somebody broke in. Call us. Call 911 and we will come check it out. It's the same with a situation you think may be human trafficking. If it ends up not being, it's not. But, 911 is your best option. I don't believe that anybody other than law enforcement should get involved because a lot of them are bad actors. If a person's willing to enslave another person, they're a bad actor. And that's what human trafficking is. It's modern day slavery.
There's also just the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And so that's more or less for victims as well. But that's like 24 hours, 7 days a week. And then that's, if they've gotten out too, they can reach resources that way. And so people that are trying to help them. And so the National Human Trafficking Hotline is 888-373-7888. And that also is a resource, I would say, for a victim or even someone. But I mean, ultimately, yes, I think whenever you bring law enforcement in, but the national hotline will then also take it to the local level and then help find resources at the local level. And then I just want to throw this out there really quick too. Like Doug said about the Attorney General, I mean, there really is just a very active community for anti-human trafficking in the city of Columbus and Central Ohio. There's over 60 different organizations in Central Ohio that are doing work on the ground, really trying to combat this. And it's a really amazing community of people where we all come together. And there's such a conduit in which people kind of go through the system, if you will, in a good way, where there's just a lot of resources. And so I think while we have such an issue in Columbus, we also have a huge camaraderie of organizations that are doing really good work. Some faith-based, some not, all doing really good work. And I'm proud to be a part of that community here.
Well, we have two on this call or two in this podcast, I guess you'd say. So let me ask for the links real quick. And then I kind of want to have just a quick wrap up with you both. But so Kelly, let's start with yours. What are the links for people to find out more about HerSong?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably just social media, just HerSong Columbus. So at HerSong Columbus for both Facebook and Instagram. And then our website is HerSong.org.
HerSong.org. And Doug, yours, again, they can find Penny for a Pound on Facebook.
On Facebook, it's Penny and then the number 4 and then a pound. And then also the Hilliard Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. They are the primary nonprofit where they set up the donation links and all the money goes to them. And then 100% of the money raised is then goes to the charity. And the Hilliard Citizens Police Alumni Association's Facebook page will have information as well. Plus you share them on your page and then Kelly has on HerSong Columbus. So we'll keep tagging that. Going to be posting something every week from now until the event. I mean, it's the 13th, right? 12.
Yep.
That's 12.
13.
13. And so our event's on Saturday, June 15th, 8 a.m. from 8 to noon. And it's open to any first responder and any military veteran. Then our motto is first responders lifting up the community. And that's what we all get together, we have fun, we do it. Last year, I think we had 7 or 8 different police and fire departments represented, plus the U.S. Army. We had an Army veteran come in and from Save a Warrior and lift with us last year. So we want to get the word out, get as many people there as possible. Davidson High School has generously donated their field house to use. It's the advantage of having it in June. I mean, it's Father's Day weekend, so some people may not think that's the best weekend to have it, but what's nice is we get it to ourselves. We have the entire facility to ourselves. Nice. And we also changed up this year. We added a couple lifts. So primarily it was the squat, bench, and deadlift, plus kettlebell swings. Well, some of our friends in the police, fire, and military service, they like doing CrossFit. So we added front squats and power cleans in there, because this isn't a competition. I mean, we throw some jabs back and forth. We have some fun with it, but this isn't really a competition. This is a fundraiser. This is lifting up the community and each other. And so we have a goal of doing it. Like I said, 100% of the money goes to the organization. One of our sponsors, Cardinal Transportation here in Columbus, they sponsored us enough money that we were able to get some challenge coins this year. So new this year, we're going to, all participants in the event and our sponsors will get a unique challenge coin for a penny for a pound this year. So we've done t-shirts and stuff in the past, but we've had some people talk about different things. So now we're doing the challenge coin this year. So we're just excited for this and see what we can do, and we'll have some fun.
Well, I'll start with you, Doug. It's amazing to see the brotherhood. You know, I was fortunate enough to be at one of the events, or at least around it. And there is a brotherhood, and it's cool that it crosses, state, or not state lines, but county lines, crosses townships. I'm not sure the language. I don't know the
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean? You know what
agency,
I mean?
Agency jurisdictions.
Thank you. It crosses those, but it's really neat to see the brotherhood, because and I want to start with you, because I want to say that you all serve and protect us, to the point of, when I asked the question, I didn't even have this intention. I'm not that bright to pick this on our head, but when I asked the question, what should we do if we see it? What did you say? Call 911.
Yes.
And the people that serve and protect are the ones that are going to come and serve and protect those that we're talking about. And so Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to all those that will be there to not just lift weight, but to go for a great cause. And so now, Kelly, to you, thank you for how hard this has to be. This is not easy work. This topic is heavy and it's difficult, but it's real and it's important. And so thank you for all those that you work with and all that work with you for doing what you do, because it's important. I mean, someone has to, 1, save, but 2, help and bring them back to hopefully have a wonderful life beyond this. And thank you to Tim Tebow, wherever he may be, for he's incredible. I mean, words can't even describe how incredible Tim Tebow is. But so thank you both for being on, but also just for sharing both of your hearts and for the work that both of you do and who you do it with. It's really incredible. And it was just an honor for me to ask questions tonight and learn more. And may we all just do a better job. We just have to be aware, because it's not over there. It's around us. And I'd love to see that graduation. And I'll be celebrating, even though I won't be there, I'll be celebrating that graduation with you. That has to be an amazing day.
Same here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate your kind words. And, if you're a praying person, pray, just pray for these women and all the women and men and children who haven't been yet found, and that they would, and that it could end.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both. One last time, links. Kelly, I'll start with yours.
HerSong.org is our website. And if you want to get on social medias and follow us, it would just be at HerSong Columbus on both Instagram and Facebook.
And Doug, yours.
We're just on Facebook, Penny for a Pound Challenge.
Penny for a Pound Challenge. And they can donate at both of those places if people feel led to donate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you both.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Aaron. Man, here's hoping we all just find a better way.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Unscripted Podcast. Make sure to review and share wherever you listen to your podcast. It really helps out our mission to encourage everyone to live life unscripted. Until next time, keep living life unscripted.